China, from New Zealand to South America. It's insane. We're right about to embark on a 10-country tour of Europe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. So how did you come up with the initial idea for Video Games Live?
Well, I've been a video game composer for about 25 years, and my two greatest loves growing up were always video games and music. But the real reason I created Video Games Live is I wanted to prove to the world how culturally significant and artistic video games have become. So, I wanted to create a show for everybody, not just for hardcore gamers, but, for grandparents who might be taking their grandkids to the symphony for the first time, or parents taking the neighborhood kids or whatever. So it was really important to me to make sure that everybody felt like they could go to this thing. And also on the flip side of that, it's also a great way to usher in a whole new generation of young people to appreciate the symphony and the arts.
Mm-hmm. Now, for those who don't know what Video Games Live is, could you give us like a brief description?
Sure, yeah. Video Games Live is all the greatest video game music of all time, played by a full symphony and choir. But what makes it really special and unique is that everything's completely synchronized to massive video screens, special effects, rock and roll lighting, a stage show production, interactive elements with the crowd. So I kind of like to describe Video Games Live as having all of the power and emotion of a symphony orchestra, but combined with the energy and excitement of a rock concert, mixed together with all the cutting-edge visuals and interactivity and technology and fun that video games provide.
All right. Now, growing up...
I'm excited. I want to go see it right now.
Now, growing up, what were some of your musical influences?
From a orchestra standpoint, Beethoven, to me, is the greatest composer that's ever lived. John Williams, from the film side of things, Star Wars, Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T., Jaws, it goes on and on, Superman, Harry Potter. But from a kind of a music, rock and roll standpoint, Aerosmith, Van Halen, The Police, Boston, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
So, and then from like the electronic side of things, trance electronic, BT, Enigma, Delirium. So, a lot of different styles.
So, when did your initial interest in video games start?
Well, the very first time I ever saw a video game. It was a home version of Pong, basically, called the Coleco Telstar, and we went over my dad's friend's house, neighbor's house, and they had one there, and it was mind-blowing. The thing that people don't realize who didn't grow up before video games was that we didn't even have remote controls for television sets back then, right? And so to be able to move a knob or a button and to see something on the television move at all was like mind-blowingly revolutionary. It was crazy. So, it's really, it was really amazing. We couldn't take our eyes off the screen. We couldn't believe that you could turn something and the television would move.
Yeah.
And so we went out and we bought one the very next day. And of course, me and my dad, we would always go to the arcades and the pizza parlors back east. That's where the video games were, and arcades. So we'd play games like Space Invaders and Asteroids when they first came out, Star Castles, Missile Command. Mm-hmm. And then I can remember when Donkey Kong came for the first time, and it was one of the first true color machines that I remember.
Yeah.
And then I the Atari 2600, but we were big in television family. So when the Intellivision came out, we used to play games as a family. My parents, my younger brother. It was always, it was a family thing. Like some nights we'd play Monopoly, some nights we'd play Scrabble, some nights Chutes and Ladders or Sorry or Trouble, and then other nights we'd play video games. Although video games were kind of dominating after they came, when we got the Intellivision, we were playing that maybe 3 or 4 nights a week. Mm-hmm. But it was always a family thing. It was never thought of as like a negative thing. It was just a family game that we all played together.
Speaking of the arcade, do you think there's a way to like modernize or bring back the arcade? I know that a lot of them, most of them are connected to like a restaurant, but do you think there's a way to like bring it back?
You know, it's tough. I mean, you know, the short answer is probably no, but there's a lot of classic arcades around now. Then certain cities, like there's one in Denver, there's one, there's all these places that are set up. Houston has one where they're old school video game arcades, which is
really
so cool, and I'd like to see those survive, and more of those. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that all the games that are coming out, they look better on your home system, and they're bigger screens and better audio, and so it's why would you pay to go somewhere else when you can have it at home and it sounds better and it's bigger. So I think the thing about arcades to kind of keep them relevant would be to really create experiences that you can't get at home. Mm-hmm. Whether that's like motion-based, amazing things like that. Like put me in an X-Wing, and have it like move as I'm going down with this massive screen. Like that's something that you can't get in your home, right? So, and I think that would be the key. And stuff like pinball as well too.
Yeah.
Pinball, such great machines and fun stuff, and they don't have a lot of them. That people can afford them at home. They're $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. So that'd be another way. Bring back pinball and big environmental type of machines. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. What are you currently working on now?
Video games live.
That's it?
It takes up 100% of my time now. I'm working on another music project as well for an artist, producing an album, a big artist, in fact. And I'll be making some announcements on our Facebook page and Twitter probably in the next week or two. But awesome. And we're going to be producing a whole symphony tour with this big artist. So it's going to be pretty amazing. But from Video Games Live, the big thing I'm working on, we have a show in Atlanta October 11th, a show in Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, or is it Birmingham? Huntsville or Birmingham? I don't even know. Hold on, let me check I should know this. Because we've played both, and I want to make sure. Huntsville. We're in Huntsville, Alabama, on October 17th. We played Birmingham a few years ago, but so Huntsville, and then we leave for the big European tour. We're going to places like Belgium, England, Paris, Germany, France, the Netherlands, Helsinki, Finland, Sweden, Hungary, Budapest. So all of Spain, or Madrid, Spain, all over the place. But the big news for us is that we're launching our second Kickstarter. Last year we did a Kickstarter to try to fund our third album, because doing a big symphony production, it's not cheap, and reality is that no record companies believe that gamers are going to even pay for music, let alone spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on creating a big symphonic album. Yeah. So I turned to Kickstarter, and we the fans and everything really got behind it, and we ended up funding the project, and that was last September. And as promised, the album came out, and the project came out in the exact day that I said it would, February 18th, which is my birthday, and that was level 3. So we're actually in about a week from now, on October 20th, we're launching level 4.
Really?
And we're going to have music from Zelda Ocarina of Time, League of Legends, Warcraft, Warlords of Draenor, Final Fantasy VI Opera, Donkey Kong Country, Uncharted, Cave Story. I'm missing a ton here. Earthworm Jim, a game I worked on. So a lot of great, music being done for the first time with a big symphony.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Can I get your opinion on the Oculus Rift?
You know what? I hope it. I hope it succeeds. I hope it becomes a big thing. I don't think that virtual reality is going to take over gaming. I think that to me it's like another peripheral. And I think is the future of gaming everybody putting on headsets and looking around and stuff? Maybe, sure. I mean, I don't see it happening in the next 10 years, but Oculus Rift definitely, Oculus seems to be a start, a really good start to it. So I'd like to see that. People have been talking about virtual reality, 3D headsets and stuff for, oh gosh, I don't know, 15 years now. But they seem to be headed in the right direction. So I'd like to see that happen.
For sure. I know there was the Virtual Boy, but that would just
well, that's where it all started, right? That's where the vomiting started.
Yeah, right giving you a headache and all that. Where do you think gaming will be in 100 years? You can kind of pinpoint it at any direction.
100 years. That's a long time from now. What the heck was the name of that movie? There was a movie where people could put on a headset and it recorded people's. It's called Brain. Something, but it would record people's thing, and the plot line of the movie was that while somebody was wearing it, they died, and it was recording all the thoughts in their mind, and so you could put on this headset and see what the other person was experiencing.
Oh,
and
wow!
Stuff. So yeah, it was really cool.
That's
I forget
awesome.
the name of the movie. Jeff Bridges, I think, was in it from Tron.
Really?
But anyway, that was I think probably jacking right into the Matrix. Jacking your brain right into something, so you're actually really feeling and experiencing. You're walking down a dusty path, right about to get into a gunfight with somebody at the OK Corral or whatever. That's probably 100 years from now. That's probably where it's going to be. I hope. That won't be live.
That'd be pretty amazing. What project has been most enjoyable to work on?
For me, Earthworm Jim was a huge one. That was just so much fun. It was about 15 of us. We're all like, brothers. And we didn't have a game design document. We didn't have a big publisher leaning over our shoulder telling us what to do. They just basically gave us a bunch of money and said, look, you got a year, make something great. And because we had the team had previously done Global Gladiators back in 1992, and then we worked on a game called Cool Spot in '93, and then also the same year Aladdin came out in '93, and then Earthworm Jim came out in '94. So it was the same team. We produced some really big hits back then in the early 90s on the Genesis and Super Nintendo. So we got to kind of write our own ticket, and it was great. We would show up and just try to make each other laugh every day, and I think the game shows that. I think if you look at Earthworm Jim and play the game, there's a lot of wacky humor and just stuff that doesn't make sense, and it's like that's what we were given, which is cool because a lot of independent games and mobile games are like that now, right? Where it's kind of like a come full circle. It's not like a $200 million project and 400 people from EA are all working on it. It's like a couple of guys in their garage doing whatever the hell they want, and that's pretty cool. So Earthworm Jim's a big one. I mean, Tony Hawk Pro Skater was amazing. Working with Miyamoto on Metroid Prime, that was crazy awesome. Working on the Sonic game with the Sonic team in Japan was an honor. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff. But I'd probably say Earthworm Jim is my favorite.
All right. Did you also work on a game called Wildnine?
I did. That was the game that we did after we did Earthworm Jim. Same team. We did Earthworm Jim 1.
Okay.
Then we did Earthworm Jim 2. Then we did a PC game called MDK, which was a huge hit. And also the very first video game to ever use a sniper scope. Before Goldeneye on the N64, MDK was out there in the late 90s. And then after that, we worked on Wildnine. Yeah, it was the last console game the team ever did together.
Really? Because I was playing it and I kept listening. I was like, "Gosh, that sounds an awful lot like Tommy Tallarico saying."
It is. It's my voice. Wexcellent. I'm all power up. Yeah, that was kind of making fun of the speak at the time.
Yeah. Do you have an all-time favorite console?
Gosh, you know what? here it is almost, was it 35 years later, and I still play in television. I still have it hooked up to the big screen. I still have fun with it. So in terms of hours played, I'd have to put the Intellivision way up there.
Really?
But also the Sega Genesis, I thought was, as a machine was really incredible. But if I had to pick one machine that I thought was the best machine at the time and had the greatest library of games and everything, I'm going to go with the PlayStation 2.
Nice. Good choice.
That was incredible. I mean, so many amazing games, came out of that, from, Shadow of the Colossus and Eco to Metal Gear and God of War and my gosh, it just, went on and on. So many incredible titles on the PlayStation 2 at the time. I thought had an incredible library.
Mm-hmm. Do you have favorite games then too, as well?
Yeah, I mean, Shadow of the Colossus is up there.
Yeah.
I loved when they did the HD remastered it for the PlayStation 3. It was freaking awesome. Mm-hmm. Metal Gear, the original.
Yeah.
I love Super Mario World. I think it's probably my favorite. I think is the best designed game of all time. Mario World, just the way that the jump and the jumps and the graphics for the time and the music on every level is incredible. So that was like a perfect game to me. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you, one of my favorites, though, that I still play also is Red Dead Redemption. Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
So immersive. I'm not a big Grand Theft Auto guy. I mean, I like it, but the last couple ones, I don't know, a little too over the top for me and almost too much stuff to do. Mm-hmm. But Red Dead, I kind of like the Old West style and getting on a horse and stuff and, stabbing old ladies if I wanted to. But, stuff, it's awful.
Yeah, a little bit.
But that's that's another great, amazing game.
Mm-hmm. I've always said Red Dead Redemption's kind of like Gun on steroids.
It is. It is. I loved Gun too, but Red Dead Redemption definitely took it up a notch.
I've got some games here if I could share with you of my all-time favorites. I know I kind of probably seem like an embryo to you.
No.
Star Fox 64.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one. Good music, Koji Kondo.
Goldeneye 007.
You gotta love Rare. I mean, that was the pinnacle of Rare. That actually, I'd put that as one of my favorite games too.
Really?
When that game came out, 4-player screen, it was unbelievable. What's funny about that game is that you were probably like me. You probably played that game for hundreds and hundreds of hours. Yep. And at the time, it looked so amazing, and the frame rate was so incredible.
Yeah.
It's funny. A bunch of buddies came over about a year ago. And who we always used to play every night of the week. We would play. We'd set up tournaments. We did everything, right? And we're like, dude, we got to get together and play Goldeneye, 15 years later. Whenever, oh my God, we're so excited.
Yeah.
We all came over. We put it in, and we're like, what the hell is this? What? It looked so great at the time, and to go back and play it now, it's like. The frame rate is horrible.
Yeah,
they're awful. The music's still good, but we were so disappointed. It's like how we remember it because at the time it was so cutting edge.
Yeah.
Now we're so used to playing, Gears of War and Halo and everything else. You play that and it's like, it was brutal.
No, yeah.
But anyway, go ahead. Some of your others.
I got 3 more.
Yeah.
Super Smash Brothers for N64.
Not a fan, but I appreciate it. I love the music.
Okay.
Love the music.
I'm
a big Tekken guy. That's my choice.
I totally agree with you.
Tekken 2, Tekken 3, you kidding me?
Last one for N64, Legend of Zelda, obviously, Ocarina of Time.
Never heard of it. Is that any good?
I've played it a few times. It's, pretty good.
It's okay.
The last one that I own, Mirror's Edge for Xbox 360.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
You know the funny thing about Mirror's Edge, people don't realize when people talk about the song "Still Alive," the first thing that comes to their mind is Portal.
Yeah.
The Jonathan Colton song "Still Alive." We do it in video games live, an acoustic version. But as you probably know, there's also a song. It came out the same year. Also a song on Mirror's Edge. The big song is called "Still Alive." It was written for the game. So crazy. There you go. Little little trivia for you.
Well, I actually heard it in Mirror's Edge before I heard it in Portal.
You were still alive. So when you saw Portal, you're like, hey, they're ripping off Mirror's Edge.
I wasn't sure if it was like a different story or.
I know. I didn't know if it was the same song. I'm like, oh, they did it in both games. That seems weird. But no, it's a totally different song. And by the way, that song's awesome.
It is.
I tell people, go on YouTube and check out Mirror's Edge, Still Alive.
Yeah.
And I think you'll dig it.
When you played that game, did your hands sweat at all? Like when you're like balancing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, totally with me too.
Yeah.
You started a thing called Gang?
Yes, the Game Audio Network Guild.
All right, awesome. What inspired you to create this network of people?
Well, I wanted to, at the time, this is in 2002 when we first launched the organization. It's a nonprofit organization. But, a lot of video game audio wasn't getting the respect and the budgets that it deserved, video game audio in general. And it was also a time when, the technology, as game audio people, you have to deal with the technology on all these multiple platforms. So that's a kind of a barrier. You have to deal with the creative side, interactive streaming music. It's not like a film where it's all linear post-production work. Oh, here's the scene, here's the car chase scene, write us music. For us, you're doing hours and hours and hours of music for a game, and then you have to record it with a live orchestra and put it on a click track and figure out all the streaming elements and the layering and the branching of the, and then there's also the business aspects of what we do as well, because most audio people, a majority of them are out of house. They're freelancers, and so I wanted, and I had had a lot of success in all three of those things in the video game industry over the last 25 years, and so I wanted to share all of that information with all of my friends and all of my colleagues in the industry. So I started the Game Audio Network Guild. I made available all my contacts in the industry, all my contracts, and we did things like, we formed a group to get game music into the Grammy Awards. That happened, that happened in the early 2000s.
Wow.
We did things like, we got video game music in the MTV Awards. We write white papers on certain things. We talk to publishers about the importance of surround audio and 5.1 and doing 5.1 mixes and using live orchestras and the effects that has on a player as opposed to doing it just MIDI and cheaply. So, there's so many different things. And we also have apprenticeship programs for people coming into the industry. We have $20,000 scholarship funds. We have student and apprentice memberships. We do these things called gang hangs, where people get together. We do postmortems on things, on games. So composers talk about what they did, or game audio people, and it's not just for music too. It's game composers, it's sound designers, it's game programmers, it's voiceover people, it's implementation people, and so and we also, the big thing is every year at the Game Developers Conference we put on our big Gang Awards, and we have over 20 categories of different game audio specific awards, everything from best sound design to best song written for a video game, everything. So that's best handheld, best independent game, things like that, music, and so we have over 2,500 people all over the world who've signed up to Gang, and it's a really amazing community, and most game audio people, we're all good friends with each other. So we don't hold our cards close to the chest, and we don't feel like we're in competition. We're just trying to move the bar up and forward.
That's awesome. So with that being said, what would kind of be the ultimate game to create, if possible?
For music, you mean, or
for music, for gameplay, just the ultimate experience from your standpoint.
You know what I love about a game like Shadow of the Colossus is the simplicity of it. I think games these days, you pick up a Halo or a Madden football, or and it takes you like my dad used to play video games with me because it was a joystick and a button, and that was it. And you could put a quarter in, and you get it right away. And my dad doesn't play video games anymore because you got to be a freaking camera operator in order to, So
Yep.
a game like Shadow of the Colossus kind of went back to the old school simplicity style of stuff. So, I think that's really important. So to me, a perfect video game would have obviously an amazing interactive symphonic score, incredible movie-like sound design, top voice actors in the world, incredible story. That's the key, right? Shadow of the Colossus was great. Metal Gear Solid was great. Storytelling I think is so important. Eco, I remember crying in Eco.
Yep.
When she fell off the bridge, she died, or whatever. So storytelling is the future, and graphics now they're starting to be photorealistic. I was a little disappointed with the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 because I thought the graphics were going to be a huge leap forward than the PlayStation 3 and the 360, and I'm not seeing it yet. It's like you compare Destiny on like and it's like, okay, it's it's better. It's got a little more shading, a little sharper, but it's not, when you went from, usually when you go from generation to generation, there's a big graphics pop, and I don't know. It's not there yet. Maybe it'll take a year or two, or let's see what the next Uncharted brings, or the next God of War, or the next Halo, or something. So, again, Destiny looks great. Don't get me wrong, but it's not. It's not. I think what I was expecting.
I totally agree with you.
Still think we got a little ways to go, and Nintendo. I don't know what to say about them. I don't even know anyone who has a Wii U, and I have thousands of friends who are gamers.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Me and my brother, when we were younger, we used to play wrestling games all the time.
Okay.
We played one recently, and we're just like, man, this is like really complicated to how it used to be.
Right. Yeah. I mean, push R1 and up and triangle to do this special move. It's like, really?
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you. Kind of a funny question. My wife wanted me to ask you about your dog.
Okay, this is Houdini.
Okay.
And he's an Alaskan Klekai.
Which
is that's it's spelled with K's. Klee and Kai are two separate words spelled with K's. And he's a mini husky.
Husky.
So
okay.
Yeah. So he weighs about 20 pounds. And he's always with me.
Nice. All right, so I don't know if you watched the first episode, but I have a random word game. Even though it's not really a game, I just say a word and the first thing that comes into your mind.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Yes.
Dandy Pratt.
I no idea.
No idea? Okay.
Confusion.
Okay. Garbler.
Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka. Okay. Gobo.
What's that? Gobo?
Yeah, Gobo.
Moving lights.
Moving lights. Okay.
Lighting.
Chicken shoot.
Zero.
Zero. Nothing.
That's no. That's the score I gave it.
Oh, zero. Okay.
Awful game. Yeah.
Divagation.
Legalese.
Legalese. Okay. Cobblestone.
Italy.
Italy. And then the last one I have is crapulence.
Epic.
Epic. It kind of sounds like a British word.
So all of those are real words.
Yeah, they're all real words. Totally.
Okay.
All right, now I got some trivia for you, if that's okay. In the 2000 Dreamcast game Shenmue, what is your main character's name?
Oh, crap. Wait. In what version?
In the 2000 Dreamcast game Shenmue, what is your main character's name?
Ryu or something? Like, I don't know how to pronounce it.
You are so close.
Ryu
Hazuki.
Ryu, yeah.
According to GamesRadar.com, what's the worst video game console ever released?
It's got to be the Virtual Boy.
I actually got Action Max, 1987.
don't even know that game. I thought I knew it all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep, Action Max.
I've never heard that one.
Really? Well, that's probably why, because it was the worst ever sold.
You know, I got a trivia question for you now.
All right.
All right. I got a couple. These are game, music, and audio related.
Okay.
What was the very first video game to ever have a live orchestra recorded for it?
Okay, here's the thing. I watched you on Classic Game Room, and you asked the same question, so I don't want to cheat. What was it? Dragon's Lair or something?
Dragon's Lair.
Okay, yeah.
That's good. That's good. You knew the answer. That's
I did.
Okay. It's okay.
I kind of cheated though.
Yeah, no, you didn't cheat.
No?
You
Okay.
knew it from watching me. That's good. I'm impressed. But a lot of people don't get that because Dragon's Lair was the first Laserdisc game, so they could put real music.
Yeah.
Christopher Stone was the composer, who did a lot of stuff with Don Bluth and Gary Goldman, who helped to make the game. So that's a great one. What was, I don't know if on that same thing I asked this question, and you might know the answer to this one then. What was the very first game to ever talk that actually had voice in it?
To ever talk?
Yeah.
No idea.
Oh, okay. There you go. And throw out some guesses, or is it way before your time? What year were you born?
1990.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm probably like an embryo to you.
It came. I started in the industry in 1990. So this game came out 10 years before you were born. But the answer is Major League Baseball, MLB Baseball on the Intellivision.
Okay.
You're out. You have to look that up.
Oh, duh. Yeah, I've heard that before. We are out of time for now.
Please check out videogameslive.com. And also, the way we create the set lists for all the shows is on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So join us on our main Facebook page, and we set up events pages for every single show we do. And I ask people in there, what music do you want to hear? So I create the set list. We've never played the same show twice. So, so just let us know what you want to hear. And also, please join us on October 20th and launch the Kickstarter with us so we can do another album. And even if you can't donate anything, just spreading the word to people means the world.
You don't even necessarily have to be like a fan of video games to really enjoy Video Games Live either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I went when you were in Minneapolis, and it was just, I wasn't sure what to expect, but it was completely awesome.
Cool. Now, did your wife go with you for that?
I had not met her yet.
Okay. Well, there you go. So, I mean, because that's the great thing about Video Games Live is people always say they take their parents or girlfriend or whatever, and they have a whole new appreciation for video games.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Tommy Tallarico, thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Love the music, love the lights. One of the best nights of my life.
Best show ever.
This is like freaking awesome, dude.
It had something for everybody tonight.